Hey guys, what's up? DJ's Aviation. Welcome to another video of mine. Today we're going to be discussing the possible future of the airline Qantas. This is ranging from the aircraft I think they will order, the aircraft that are on offer to Qantas, and the rumoured routes that I believe will be starting in the coming years. Just before I start, I'd like to make it very clear that this is my own opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I have had a couple of requests to do this video, so that's why I decided to make it. So I just want to begin the video by discussing the aircraft that are available to Qantas for order. They don't have to necessarily order all these aircraft, but these are the ones that are on offer. So Qantas could order the A320 or A321 Neos, the 737 Maxes, 787-10s, A350-900s, A350-1000s, A330 Neos, or the up-and-coming 777X. And when we do actually eventuate all these aircraft, there are only a few that I can see Qantas may be looking at. However, all could play a very good part in the Qantas fleet. I doubt they will order every single one I just mentioned. It's probably worth noting the current fleet of Qantas so you guys can get an understanding of the aircraft they have currently. Qantas have a fleet consisting of the A330 200s, which are used mainly on domestic routes throughout Australia. They also have the A330 300s, the longer version, which can be mostly seen throughout Asia and sometimes on the Melbourne to Sydney route during peak periods. They have the A380 800, which is currently used on routes to America, London and more. The 737-8, which is probably the most dominant one in Australia, and you can usually see that at all the main domestic airports throughout Australia at any given time. They have the 747-400ER and the 747-400 Classic. Both of those are a dying breed, in fact, with VHOJM, which is a 747-400 already being retired. And they'll continue to go as we get more 787-9s in. And that leads you on to the last aircraft, which is the newest one to the Qantas fleet, the 787-9. At the time of this recording, they currently have two of them, VHZNA and VHZNB. The first one's titled Great Southern Land, and the second one is Waltzing Matilda. So Qantas do in fact have an option to purchase a further 30 787-9s. Whether they do that though, I'm not too sure. So that's the fleet of Qantas and the aircraft that they could order. I'll go in depth in the ones I think they should order in a second, but I just want to make a note that Qantas have also put out a call to Boeing and Airbus in late August of this year to work on new long-range aircraft that could carry a full cabin non-stop from the East Coast to New York and London. This would remove the need to stop in Los Angeles or Dubai on the way. However, this aircraft has not been developed and wouldn't come into service until after 2022. So now the aircraft I see Qantas could order, we're going to go over each one. So the A320 and A321 Neos, although they're very good aircraft, I don't think Qantas would go with those. As I just said, Qantas have a fleet predominantly of 737s and quite a lot of them. They're currently being painted into the new livery, so they are going to be around for quite a while longer. But I just don't see any need for the A320 and A321 Neos. If anything, they would probably opt for the 737 Maxes. But who knows, maybe by the time they are looking to upgrade their 737s, we might actually see a new 737 come out. So our next one is the 787-10s, and this one is one that I think they could order. Just because they have a lot of the 787-9s already on order, maybe they might opt for the 787-10, the longer range and everything like that. But as I mentioned, they are looking at a new aircraft which hasn't been invented yet. So that's something we always need to keep in mind when looking at the aircraft they might want. The next one is the Airbus A350-900. Although that's a possible one they could order, I do not see them ordering this one because I think they would have gone for the A350-900 over the 787-9. However, the A350-1000s, which are similar to the 787-10, I could see them ordering because they haven't put in an order yet, as I said, for the 787-10s. So it's really going to be, I reckon, between the 787-10s, A350-1000s, and the 777X. Another aircraft that I'm going to mention is the A330 Neos, which again, they haven't made an order for, but as I said, their fleet does consist as well of A330 300s and A330 200s. So eventually, as just like the 737s, they might need upgrading as well. So the A330s and Neos are always there. But again, similar to the 737s, we might see a new version come into play by the time they need to order them. And the final one is the 777X. This is my personal favourite and the one I want to see Qantas order. Not only because of the cool wingtips and the overall design, which I like, I do feel that'd be a perfect fit for Qantas on what they're looking to do in opening up a number of new routes across the world. And now I'm going to go on and talk about the rumoured routes that are going to be starting up. before I get on to that, feel free now to take the time to let me know in the comment section below what you think about the possible aircraft Qantas could order. So do you feel that the 787-10s would be the best fit, or do you think maybe the A350-1000s? Feel free to let me know. But we're going to move on to the rumoured routes now, and these include Sydney to Chicago, Melbourne/Brisbane to Dallas-Fort Worth, because we do know Qantas want to open up a number of new routes throughout America and Europe, but we'll get onto Europe in a second. They also want to start Brisbane to Los Angeles, and the day of recording this, which is the 15th of December, I think it's going to go out on the same day. Qantas have just announced Melbourne to San Francisco with the new 787-9. This is predicted to start in the fourth quarter of 2018, so I would say maybe October, November, or December, which is very good because we don't have here in Melbourne a route connecting us from Melbourne to San Francisco, and we really have been kind of lacking in the routes to North America. We just recently had Air Canada start up connecting us from Melbourne to Vancouver, but at this stage all we have is Melbourne to Los Angeles, so it's nice to see a number of new routes open up. And our last one is Brisbane to Los Angeles with the 787-9. I do see Brisbane to Los Angeles eventuating, and possibly Sydney to Chicago. Maybe not with the 787-9. I think we'd see the 787-9 on Brisbane to Los Angeles, but probably not Sydney to Chicago. I think they might opt for another aircraft on that one, and again, that's why we don't know what they're going to order yet. Now going on to the Europe front, as we know, there's the new Perth to London flight starting up, which is going to be the world's longest flight. And that is non-stop, so now that removes the need to stop over in Dubai like QF9 and 10 do from Melbourne, the one I went on. So at this stage, Perth will be the hub for Europe services for Qantas, because of course we can't go from Melbourne to London non-stop or anything like that. However, we might see something like a Melbourne-Dubai to Paris. It's really down to the demand and what Qantas feel best for each capital city, because they're going to need to evaluate how many people actually want to go via Perth, because with a lot of people based on the east side of Australia, I feel like not a lot of people would be wanting to go over to Perth just to fly on Qantas to Europe, and that means we could see Emirates take a large part of the market, as they have a lot of flights operating from Dubai to Europe, and of course Dubai to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and I'm sure Qantas wouldn't want to lose that market. So some of the routes they are looking at are Perth to Paris, Perth to Berlin, Perth to Rome, and Perth to Frankfurt. Now, there could also be Perth to Amsterdam, but again, they've got to evaluate whether there's a need for that. Paris, I think I can definitely see happening. There's a massive demand for Australian travellers heading to Paris, so I do see that happening. Berlin, I'm not too sure. I don't know how many people would be wanting to go over there. I know we do have a German community here in Australia, but I don't know how many would want to go over there with Qantas. Rome, again, I'm not too sure on. Frankfurt, yes, I can see as well. Like, that's a big one for Qantas. But at this stage, I think they're better off just starting with London, seeing how that goes. If they're selling out flights constantly, then they can reevaluate it and say, okay, well, we're going to get in that further 30 787-9s and possibly put them on the new routes to Paris, Berlin, Rome, Frankfurt, Amsterdam. I have no doubt they'll also start up new routes in Asia. One they could look at is a Melbourne to Delhi sort of thing and take over the market from Air India, because I know Air India are going to start to increase their flights here to Melbourne. But again, it's really all just a guessing game. I have no idea if any of this will eventuate, but it's always nice to kind of discuss the rumours. So let me know what routes you want to see Qantas start. I know I have a very large European audience, so if you guys want to tell me like where you're from, but if you want to see Qantas at your local airport, do you think there's a demand for them? Say if you're from Finland, do you think maybe Qantas would be good at Helsinki? So thank you very much for watching, guys. I know this was kind of a longer video than my usual one, so I apologise for that, but I wanted to make it detailed as it is about the Spirit of Australia, my home airline Qantas. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.